if the Manila to Los Baños is electrified, 60% elevated, the long haul, PNR long haul, Los Baños to Bicol, Calamba to Batangas will be at grade, single truck and diesel locomotive.
So will the project be funded ODA?
Yes, Mr. Chair, the reason why it was just approved yesterday by NEDA, because the original approval by NEDA, the Manila to Los Baños is PPP. We tried...
so what's the reason, Yusek, for veering away from the PPP scheme going towards bakit mag-ODA na tayo rin?
The economic managers, one of the main reasons that this is based on the statement of Secretary Diok, no? Under the ODA, the interest rate is 0.25 or 0.10 of 1%. Grace period is 10, maturity rate is 30 years, and therefore it's about 30 years compared to a commercial rate under PPP. Mr. Chair, if I may, while these are ODA-funded projects, possibly Japan and China, the operations of maintenance of the North-South commuter railway, North-South again is Manila to Los Baños, Manila to Clark. The operation and maintenance will be, number one, based on NEDA approval, November 14, 2016, one, it should be only under single operator. Only under single operator. So, and the operations and maintenance. And please remember that in the project cost for Manila to Los Baños, Los Baños to Bicol, and Manila to Clark, that includes railway truck, station development, and rolling stock. So these are about PNR North-South commuter railway project.
Thank you, Yusek. Cesar Chavez, at this point, the Chair would like to acknowledge arrival of the Chair of the Committee on Finance.
Yeah, just continue, please.
So, it will be overseas development assistance. Which country would it be? Would it be China or Japan? For the South Rail.
Japan, Manila to Malolos is Japan, 105 billion. Malolos to Clark is Japan, 211 billion. Manila to Los Baños is Japan, 124 billion. Subway is 355 billion, Japan. But the Calamba to Batangas and Los Baños to Bicol is China, 175 billion.
So, only one is China, yung Calamba to Los Baños.
Initially. And of course, the Tagum Davao Digos is to be funded by under the general appropriations. We already proposed 6.5 billion, but the Tagum to Butuan to Cagayan de Oro, based on the emerging consensus, the consensus of the economic managers, it will be offered to China.
Chairman,
Yes, Secretary.
yung Clark Subic, there's a cargo train that will be put up, Cargo Subic, to enhance the capability of the logistics hub, which is being targeted to be put up between Clark and Subic. Sa Chinese po yun.
And likewise, Madam Chair, I think it will be very wise to put up a growth triangle, Batangas, Manila, Clark, and Subic. It will be good for economic development, no, to prioritize railway lines, especially for cargo.
You are absolutely correct, sir. In fact, the third track, we have Paco to Calamba, Los Baños to Legazpi. Pero meron hong future extension sa Batangas.
Yes, Calamba to Batangas.
Calamba to Batangas.
That will greatly decongest also our states, no, of containers. Likewise, Secretary Tugade, Yusek Cesar, I filed a bill mandating the establishments of food terminals for every province that the railways would traverse. So I hope that you will also put this into consideration, because this will greatly help stimulate our agricultural sector. At the same time, decongest our streets of cargo trucks. No? So, sana po, halimbawa, Manila to La Union, Pampanga, Bulacan, Pampanga, Tarlac, Pangasinan, all the way hanggang sa Nueva Ecija area. Now, I hope that there will be food terminals that will be set up, no, for, of course, to help the different industries or the different sectors, especially the agri sector of all of these provinces.
Just to cite to you an example, Mr. Chair, in the consultations with local government units and lawmakers in the region, especially in Bicol and Southern Tagalog, let me give you an example, like in Camarines Sur, instead of Naga City, the consensus among local officials, the central terminal will be in Pili, closer to airport, but at the same time it will become a food terminal in that area. And Camalig, instead of Legazpi, will also become the food terminal in that area. So the framework is that every province should have a food terminal through railway stations, because the guidance of the Secretary, it's not only interconnectivity, it's not only mobility, but at the same time an industrial complex, a commercial complex with that food terminal and intermodal facility.
Likewise, just recently, we heard in the news that the Mega Manila subway project has already been signed. Probably just brief the committee, just very briefly as well, regarding this project.
As I briefed, you may want to present the video of Mega Subway, sir. It's no longer Mega Subway, sir. The name is Metro Manila Subway. The Metro Manila Subway is only 45% underground. But what the 355 billion project is only the central zone. The central zone begins at the depot, Mindanao Avenue and Quirino, then Tandansora Congressional. This is the Metro Manila Subway, sir. May sound? Wala. Wala sound? It's okay. First is this is the Philippine Railway Institute to be located in the depot. The depot is about 28 hectares, Mindanao Avenue, Quirino Avenue. So that's from Quezon City all the way to Ninoy Aquino International Airport, about 15 stations.
Yung exercise, sandali lang.
Sige.
Probably I don't want to repeat this kasi what is important is the Committee on Finance Chair would see this para she'll have a better understanding.
Sige.
So, if you can show this later on.
Sige.
Siguro balikan na lang po natin to.
Sige.
No? So, ano tayo? Narrow gauge, standard gauge for all the...
Since November 14, 2016, the NED approved that all railway projects will be standard gauge.
So, standard gauge na. Meaning that will be faster,
Bigger,
capable of faster speeds of hanggang 200 plus to di ba?
That's correct, sir. In fact, just for the record, bago ho ako nag-assume, nagipag-meeting ho ako sa inyo, kasama yung inyong staff, at dun ko nakita yung pagkakaiba ng standard gauge saka narrow gauge. If the Honorable Senator will recall, we have that meeting. And it was because of our meeting that immediately thereupon, the first policy I have enunciated in the Transport Department was to remove all narrow gauge. Sabi ko, hindi tayo third country anymore. Wala nang gumagamit yan. Kaya pinanukala ko na standard gauge. At para maging matibay at maigting, dinala ko sa NEDA, Benny, remember? And it was approved by the NEDA. Kaya lahat po ng trend ngayon, following your information and advice to me during that time, are all standard.
Okay, thank you, Secretary Pagade and Yusek Cesar. Siguro I'd like to ask a few points lang from the aviation. Siguro Yusek Tamayo or Kakap Director General can answer, because one of our concerns, of course, is the status of the NEA traffic at present. Can you update us? Do we still have a regular, how's the air traffic congestion at present? so that if there are necessary equipment that need to be procured, so that this committee will be informed, no? And be ready. Yes, Yusek Tamayo.
Good afternoon again, Mr. Chair. Anyway, as far as the on-time performance of the airlines are concerned, we are still above the regional industry standard. The regional industry standard is about 64%. One specific airlines is hitting about 70, whereas another is about a little less than 64. So if you get the average, we're still higher than the regional standard, and this is much better than when we took over sometime last year. Now, I'm sure you're aware that the rapid exit taxiways at the NAIA are now under construction, and hopefully with this plus the finally commissioning of the CNS ATM, we will definitely improve the traffic congestion. Aside from that, we have started resurfacing of Sangli for the possible relocation of general aviation and some of the turboprop aircraft. In fact, we met with the defense regarding small issues about access, about their requirement to retain portions of Sangli, and the issues on the transfer to Lumbia. So this is being worked on, and hopefully this should improve more the traffic congestion. Definitely some of them were encouraged to move to Clark, and as you all know, we have increased the number of, specifically the domestic carriers like Cebu Pacific or Philippine Airlines have launched a lot of flights now out of Clark, not only to regional destinations, but to domestic destinations as well. Again, this is a step towards improving the traffic congestion in Manila.
So what is the final plan for the airport? Will it be Clark? Will it be Baridel? Will it be NAIA expansion?
So right now, sir, I think this has been the plan since the past administration. We're just now putting it into place. It is a dual airport policy. Before that was on study. Now we're implementing it. When you say dual, we are improving the facilities of the Manila International Airport. Definitely, we have to improve in the terminals. We have to free up space for parking. And again, I'm sure you're aware that we are rushing the building of constructing of the new passenger terminal at Clark, as well as developing the whole place.
So as of the moment, it will be a two-airport system, just like Tokyo, Narita, Haneda, probably something like that.
Yes, sir. But I think it was mentioned earlier that we are keeping the doors open for any proposal for a new gateway. However, any new gateway will take anywhere from 8 to 10 years. That's why we have to do something on the short term.
So that's the best option as of the moment,
As of the moment,
two airport system.
Yes, sir.
Just like to ask also, Yusek Tamayo, what further improvements can be done? Kasi we know the limitation for NAIA is talagang almost it's a perpendicular, so it's just like a one and a half runway, as if you might call it, to further improve, to increase traffic, takeoff and landing. Now, aside from the rapid exit taxiways, di ba there's such a thing as yung precision radar approach, no, wherein you can yung spacing between aircraft. Right now, is it 5 miles? Is it 4 miles apart?
5 miles. We're still maintaining 5 miles because the CNS ATM is not yet in place. However, once that is in place, it will improve the efficiency of aircraft in the air. So we cannot increase the number of movements until matapos po yung rapid exit taxiways natin. Perhaps from 40, we can improve it to about 42 or 44, and definitely that will be better. And as our good secretary has said, we have to rush the night rating of the provincial airports so that the slot sa gabi po, kasi maluwag yan from 10 o'clock to about 6 o'clock in the morning, we have a lot of slots that are available. So kung malilipat po natin sa gabi yung operations ng mga domestic flights natin, then again, we can increase the capacity, sir.
So, what do we need to, are we capable to have? That is the infrastructure in case we are able to acquire more equipment. For example, yung 5 miles, I think sa America and other developed countries, parang mas maikli, 2 miles or even a mile.
93 miles po sila.
93 miles sila. So that would greatly
Yes.
increase yung ating volume of takeoff and landings.
Yes.
So is the infrastructure ready for precision approach one? Approach or something?
Yung mga ILS po,
Yes.
that is in place already. It's just that it takes time for an aircraft to exit the main runway because of the absence of rapid exit taxiways. So, ano nangyayari po ngayon is about, I think it takes around 90 seconds just to be able to have an aircraft land and exit. Kasi po yung perpendicular, kasi yung natin yung mga runways natin, yung exits natin, they have to make a 90-degree turn. Whereas if we have a rapid exit taxiway, they can maintain anywhere from about 30 knots na from the main runway, 30 knots, maintain the speed and exit already. So, definitely, it will improve as far as...
Yes, yung sa Tamayo, yung sa Clark, how many terminals are we adding?
So, we're adding one big terminal, and this will increase...
How many gates?
It will have 7 gates, and it is expandable to 13. Now, it will have a capacity of 8 million passengers per annum a year.
That's good.
So, yung existing po natin is a little less than 4 per year. Now, you add 8, so we'll have a capacity of about 12 million as far as Clark is concerned.
Okay, thank you, Yusek Tamayo. I'd just like to ask, so siguro Kaap can answer, or in your 2016 COA report, it was found out that there is a 5.04 by 45 billion worth of account receivables. Out of this amount, 4.739 billion pertains to PALs, past due accounts, which remain inactive, non-moving, and unconnected since 1977. So that's 4.739, Madam Chair, billion past due account. So can you enlighten us or brief us as regards to this account?
Sir, if I may, since we took over, PAL we were able to collect from PAL the current utang. So they are fully paid as far as 2016 is concerned, and then up to this date, current ho sila. Kung may delay man, it's about 1 or 2 months lang. But they are willing to pay whatever is due. However, it takes time to be able to, kasi yung claim ng CAAP is so much against what actually can be substantiated. So now what we have done is to include the board of CAAP, we form a sort of a committee to work on how to be able to collect the past dues. So it is still a work in progress.
Correct amount? Talagang umabot ng 4.7 billion?
No, sir. Mas malaki pa dyan.
Mas malaki pa?
Mga 6...
It was about 6.3
billion. Ganito po yun, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sige ba?
When we joined, one of the things I saw, like you, Mr. Chair, if I may compare, is the accounts receivables. And when I saw the accounts receivables, I said, this must be collected, otherwise their flight should be affected. Having said that, the new management of CAAP undertook an aggressive efforts to collect, and immediately thereupon, an amount over a period of 1.5 months, nagbayad ng 700 million. Tama ba? Yung mga 700 total. to a point na yung current naging nababayaran. Yung arrears hindi gumagalaw. So, our move to collect the arrears, of course, the accounting waste has got to be reconciliation. Ayun yung issue ngayon. How deep and how far the reconciliation can go. And so there have been proposals, and some of the proposals, it behooves me not to mention it at this time, is not acceptable to me. You know, I said, basta pumunta tayo sa receivables na dokumentado, dyan tayo mag-umsa, magbayad kayo dyan. You know, doon pa hindi dokumentado, anong dokumento meron kayo, anong meron kaming dokumento, reviewin natin. Kasi gano'n naman ang takbo ng reconciliation. Tama ho may accounts receivables, tama rin ho na tinutulak namin sila magbayad. Dahil ho sa aming pagtutulak, yung current ho, paid. You know, tama ba? Ibig sabihin, during our term, paid. Yung mga nakaraan na receivables, yun ho ang pinag-uusapan namin upang we can close the books on the receivables.
Sec, pero yung 6 billion or 4 billion daw, may penalties and charges o talagang yung principal?
Those are part of the discussion, sir. The interest, the penalty, charges, interest over interest, yung mga tipong ganun ho yung pinag-uusapan ngayon.
Okay, thank you, Sec. But before, Madam, our chair would like to ask some questions. Before I let go Kaap, no? Because one of our concerns, of course, yung air traffic congestion. As you have mentioned, Yusek Tamayo, one of the improvements, yung reflatting, no? But to improve, we need to convert a lot of our airports from VFR to IFR, no? Para magkaroon ng night landing capability, night operation. So, can you give us the list of our airports that are IFR and that are being VFR and that are being converted into IFR? So, ilan po yun?
Actually, Chair, if I may, when we took over, we had 15 night-rated airports. Now, as of now, we have 19 already. And ongoing for night rating, nadagdagan po ng 4. Ongoing for night rating are 5, Dipolog, Osamis, Tuguegarao, Cotabato, and Naga.
Okay.
And then proposed for night rating, we have another 5, that is for 2019, Kawayan, Pagadian, Katarman, Masbate, and Calbayog. So this is a priority for us. The direction of the Secretary is to night rate as much as possible all of the airports that are served by commercial flights.
Of President Duterte. When we exceed lahat yung commercial airport na may commercial aviation night rated.
Because that will greatly reduce
It will improve our slotting capabilities at
strategy
Naias.
capability. So, 15 currently, and then you added 4, 19, and then how many at present are being
Ongoing is 5. Ongoing is 5.
and then will be 24, no?
Yes, the following year, another 5.
Okay.
It's ambitious, but we will work on it.
Is it part already in the GA, yung 5 that are already ongoing? Kasama na?
And the one ongoing for night rating are Dipolog, Osamis, Tuguegarao, Cotabato, and Naga.
Were you able to address the issue of congestion in airports? What was the solution, and is that in sight? Is the solution going to be achieved?
I discussed that earlier, however, I'll repeat it again, if you don't mind.
No, I was
Yes.
listening. It seemed like to decongest it, Clark will be.
Actually, just one of the strategies, no? Yung, siguro Yusuf, can you tell brief our chair, yung mga two-airport strategy, more IFRs.
Okay, no, you don't have to repeat. I just wanted to make sure that will surely decongest already. But how close will it be to now? I mean, because wherever we go, Pulse reason is always airport congestion. Their delays are due to that. So these two, Clark is still going to be.
It's sort of a global approach namin. Kasi we have to do all of these things at the same time. Improving Clark, developing Sanli, and then improving
Yes,
the
you've
infrastructure
heard
in
that also
Manila.
last year. Those were actually my answers in plenary when I was asked by my colleagues. So I don't want to hear that again. Those were the same answers I said when I defended your budget in plenary. Then I will be asked that again with the same thing. Develop Sangli, Clark, etc. It's the same old solution. So my simple question is, what's the timeline for the decongestion of our existing airports? 1 month, 1 year, 10 years? What is it?
Ma'am, once we get the CNS ATM up and running towards the first quarter of next year, definitely the delays as far as aircraft that are airborne or flying will be minimized. Now, at the same time, as I mentioned earlier, as far as Manila is concerned, we have started the construction of the 2 rapid exit taxiways. Kasi even if you improve the airborne efficiency, if you don't, it is ongoing, ma'am, I think. And
Started through the chair. It started construction sometime July 15. It takes 365 days to complete it, ma'am. Apo.
May I participate in the deliberation, Mr. Chair? Una ho, yung bagong ginagawa namin to address the issue of the congestion is the taxiway and the runway. That's a given. We'll finish that, ma'am, by June of next year. The construction is ongoing. The second one about
So
is...
with the extra taxiway, is that what you call it? The 2... Okay, the extra rapid, the extra taxiway.
Bibilis po yung...
Yes. How much the congestion will happen? 10% improvement? So what is the present problem of congestion, and how much will the new taxiway improve it? Or will there still be congestion?
It will not solve the congestion 100%. What we are saying, ma'am, is by doing the rapid taxiway, that will add to the congestion. There are other things in the basket which we have to continuously do. Ano ho yung isang ginagawa ngayon? Karamihan ho ng congestion nangyayari sa Terminal 2. Okay? Ang Terminal 2 to, ito ho yung airport na kung saan ipinatayo to with the intention of just making it a domestic airport for domestic. Ang nangyari ho, ginagamit na rin ho, yan for domestic and international. Maluwag ko yung naiyawan. I'm talking very loose, ma'am, sir. Yung Terminal 3 is may issue, yung Terminal 4 walang issue. What are we trying to do? Terminal 2 will not now be exclusive for Philippine Airlines na papayag kami na yung operation nila na international terminal ay doon pa rin magagawa. In fact, meron na mga flights international na nailipat sa Terminal 1. In short, paano ba yung word nun? Parang mini-mix and match po namin in relation to the area of the available slotting, the slotting para lumawag. Nakakatulong ba ako? But again, that alone will not give 100 solution to the congestion. Marami hong mga ginagawa dyan, halimbawa sa polisiya. Simple solution, ma'am, na kung saan kinopya po ito sa Germany. Yung 10 minutes positioning time. Ibig sabihin, ma'am, yung aeroplano bago tumating, yung equipment saka yung tao na mag-handle nung loading, unloading, ando doon na nakaposisyon. And pagdating ng aeroplano, hindi mabilis ilagay yung mga kwan, pero hindi pa rin nangyayari lahat yan. So, sinasabi ko, meron ng mga polisiya rin na dapat idagdag. Kasi ang nangyayari ko nun, and lahat po tayo nakaka-experience yan, pati na po, na minsan, dumating na yung aeroplano, Ma'am, hindi pa rin tayo makalabas sa aeroplano. Kasi yung hagdanan, doon pa lang ho nilalabas. Yun ho yung mga simple things which we are doing in terms of procedures. Again, that alone will not solve the congestion. It will have to be combined with the other things you are doing.
Just that simple basic thing. That doesn't take anything special. It's just a matter of doing their job well. Is not the pre-positioning of the stairs and the personnel an SOP in every airport in the world? It doesn't take a policy of a secretary, a department order.
Nakita ko ho kasi ito ma'am, nung pumunta ako sa habang nilalakad namin yung terminal. Sino ba kasama ko sa inyo doon?
So what you're saying, secretary, is in the Philippines?
Hindi na namin ko yan.
You still have to micromanage that? They don't know that they have to prepare the stairs and the person...
I have to insist on that 10 minutes positioning.
Is that not an SOP in every airport in the world that they should prepare before and they know the flight arrivals? That's common sense.
Alam ko po, ma'am.
That's simple planning.
Nung pumasok kami, ma'am, hindi nila ginagawa yun eh.
Ibig sabihin po, dadalin lang yung pangangailangan.
Minsan mo, pag nakaparking yung aeroplano,
Hindi na magkatawagan.
oo. Tapos, minsan, ginagamit pa kong hagdanan, manual. Nakakatagal pa ho yung kasi tinukulang.
Simple basic plan.
Pinagbatawan ko na ho at pinipace out ko yung manual. Ang gusto ko yung mga steps, motorized
Did
steps.
you issue a department order regarding this? Is it in writing? May we know when you issue the department order? And could we request for strict compliance of that? Because that's very basic. If people in the airport can't even do that, I don't know what they can do. That's lack of discipline, lack of planning. Is there a department order?
We sent out a memorandum to...
A memorandum. Could you kindly give us a copy so that we will see? And this concerns all airports.
Okay, ma'am. Pati yung mga service providers, yung cargo handlers,
International and domestic.
yung required minimum stairs, cargo equipment, motorized equipment, motorized stairs, remember? Sabi ko, pag hindi nagawa ng mga service providers yun, palitan nyo.
Are we just in air first? Sa air muna tayo. O, sige. Thank you, Senator JV. Last year when we sat here, I cited to you the pending projects of the previous DOTC and the solution to be able to avail of the existing funding for projects so that it would not expire is to download it to CAAP so that it's considered obligated. I have here the list of all these locally funded projects, various airports in our region. Lawag, Tugigaraw, Basco, Kawayan, Clark, San Vicente, Busuanga, Taytay, Romblon, Camarines, Bicol, Masbate, Virac, Calibo, Iloilo, at yan, Dumaguete, Tagbilaran, Siquijor, Calbayog, Catarman, Maasin, Zamboanga, Bukidnon, Osamis, Camiguin, Mati, Jensan, Surigao, Siargao, Sanga-Sanga. So all of that, was that all downloaded to CAAP? It's just interesting, Antiques not here, you forgot my province again. So, I don't know why it's not here. So, my first question is, were these actually all obligated, downloaded to CAAP, and Will CAAP expire by December? No, because
No.
it will not.
No.
No, corporation, so it will not. So my fear is, first it's good if it was obligated, but my fear is because you are a GOCC, then you will sit on it, then you will not implement. So I would like to know, please, the status of the implementation of all these airports. Because really, if the funds are available, the project studies have been done, this will actually is part of the build. It will really mobilize economic livelihood and provide jobs in all these areas. So my first question is, was it obligated? Yes, or you had it expired?
No, ma'am. It is obligated.
It's obligated.
Yes.
Second, do we see construction ongoing in all these areas? Or not? Or if you're saying...
In some, yes, in some, no. Because while it was downloaded, there are still feasibility studies to be done to perfect it. On the other airports, there are actual constructions being done now.
It's not here, no? I don't have in my notes. Perhaps you could give us an update of all these aviation sector projects from the previous administration. You should have vetted it, which should be continued, which should be not. But they're already funded, downloaded to CAAP. I hope CAAP does not sit on it just because it will not expire by December. Could I request within the week that you give us an update on all of this?
We will comply.
And have all of these been funded para may continuity? Baka na we stop the funding here in your 2018 NEP, which is still in the DOTR budget. So paano po yun, Secretary? It's with CAAP, and is it funded in your 2018 NEP? Exactly all this list of projects and more.
Yes, ma'am. In fact, yung downloading, pati yung pag-release ng pondo, nakaprograma na po.
Still
We will give you a list, ma'am.
will you still download it to CAAP, or will you let it be retained in the OTR?
Kung different project work, ipata-download namin. Tama ba?
Ang CAAP, hindi kayang i-obligate yan, hindi kayang gastusin, and just because they're a GOCC again, matulog ang proyekto ron. So, that's just my concern, because while we avoided the expiration of the funds, so I would only be able to assess that if you give me the update.
We will do the compliance, ma'am.
And I'm just wondering, Antique is not here. Why did you not put Antique? Because the funds, and I can answer my own question, because the funds that you allocated for Antique, I discovered, because I don't know these things, I'm not an expert here, is only for land acquisition.
Meron ng ticket.
When the president went to Antique for the Palarong Pambansa, there was not even one decent bathroom. There was no holding area, an air-conditioned room. So the facility was not fit for a president, not even fit for anyone. Dilapidated, leaking, antiquated facility. So, hinayaan. And the fund that you put in the 2017 budget is only for land acquisition. I think 100, correct? So, okay, they're now in the process, I think, of acquiring the land. I don't know who owns the land. I don't meddle in the implementation of these projects. I hope that the DOTR Region 6 could be more proactive and spend the money. But what will you do? More land. Did you actually put the improvement of the airport facility and the extension of the runway in your 2018 NEP? I heard about all these airports for rehabilitation, night, what do you call it, the night upgrading, etc. So we only put land acquisition in 2017. You forgot to put the facility. Hinihingi ko naman, banyo lang at saka yung facility lang, at saka yung runway So, lulukuhin na naman ako ni Senator Dillon na kailangan sa amin tabasin ang damo. Kasi nga kinakalimutan nyo palagi
To the Chair, ma'am, if I may, for 2018, we have 110 million for Antique.
I'm not sure if that is sufficient. as I said, the 100 million you put in 2017 is for land acquisition. I leave it to your engineers and for you to assess it better. You're in a better position. Can you please make sure that the land is acquired this year and the funds are obligated, and the 110 million will complete the facility? It's really run down. The president had no place to stay. So, as soon as he landed, he went to the Palaro. Hindi namin walang aircon na gumagana dun eh. So, it's up to you, please, to assess and fix your budget according to what's needed. Hanggang kayang i-obligate for next year.
Opo, ma'am. I'll put this and immediately I will look into the status of the facilities in the runway. And siguro before the plenary, ma'am, we can give you a detailed report on the state of affairs of this particular airport.
Not only because I'm from that province, it's just because naiwanan talaga ng panahon yung probinsyang yan sa lahat. Kaya ang pinakamahihirap na tao, and there's so much good. Secretary Piñol was just in my office, even the farmer, ating-ati yung probinsyang yan. Ngayon lang sila nagkaroon ng senador na chairman ng finance, ngayon ko na natutulungan sa aking 3 termino. So, hinihiling ko po ay i-assess ninyo ng tama. Kayo po ang USEC for Air, yung previous USEC for Air, may inassign na tao doon. I don't know what happened to their assessment. I'm not certain if the 100 you're giving for next year, 110, is sufficient. Please find out which is sufficient to have an airport as beautiful as just a working airport, similar to Iloilo, if possible. Or I leave it to your better judgment. And carve it from your own budget. Because earlier the Secretary said that 20% of the budget may not be used. Well, maybe you can put some coming from somewhere into that area within your internal budget and make sure it's obligated and used. That's all.
We'll work on it, ma'am. Thank you.
May I know, okay, that's for air as of now. It's the EMB, the Environment Management Bureau, that implements the Clean Air Act. Which agency of DOTR actually works with the EMB for compliance of the Clean Air Act? Is it not the LTO? Is it the LTFRB or the LTO?
The LTO, Madam
Yes.
Senator.
May I know, as a career po kayo or newly appointed?
I was appointed July 1st last year.
Ano po ang bagong ginagawa po ng LTO na kasama po ang EMB sa pagpatupad ng Clean Air Act? Because one of the biggest sources of pollution, which is suffocating Metro Manilans and other urban areas, is mobile sources of air. Industrial as well, but more from mobile sources. And as I said earlier, in the monitoring stations of DNR, ay nakikita po natin talagang over what is livable. So, what are you doing together with DMB to address this?
Your Honors, nakipag-coordinate po kami sa EMB para makahiram kami ng equipment because our equipment needs repair.
Equipment needs repair to monitor all the vehicles that are being tested in those emission testing centers are private, right?
For public utility vehicles, they should submit the vehicle for inspection at the LTO
So if your
facility.
equipment are not working in your annual budget, why don't you include it? Why don't you use the MVUC funds, which is 8 billion, which is anti-pollution device?
Yeah, we are pursuing that, Your Honor. In fact, bibili po kami ng 26 mobile motor vehicle inspection equipment. At
Kaya-
kasama po dito yung pang-test ng emission.
Kaya naman po, kaya pala na ang ating mga sasakyan ay gano'n na lang ang buga ng usok na parang wala nag-monitor dahil sira po ang LTO testing center sa public utility vehicles.
Totoo po yan, Your Honor.
Wow. At least you're candid enough and honest enough. No wonder every day that I ply the streets of Metro Manila, I see belchers, whether jeeps, private vehicles, buses, that just do it. And I said, paano to? Parang tayong walang batas. Parang wala nag-monitor. Eh wala naman pala talaga.
Very limited po ang capacity sa ngayon. Nakikipag-coordinate po kami sa DNR para hiramin po namin ang kanilang equipment. Kung maipapairam ito sa amin, ang aming gagawin po is doon pa lang sa garahe ng mga sasakyan, particularly ng public utility vehicles, testingin na po namin sila para kung doon pa lang nakita hindi papasa, hindi po natin palalabasin.
Sir, I don't think it's a DNR that has that because a DNR does not test emission. What they have are the air quality monitoring stations all over Metro Manila. Gaya po ng DOTR, sira din po yung sa DENR. Out of 48, 30 lang po umaandar. Para po lahat na lang dito ay sira. Gaya po ako sa hearing ng NHA. Nagtayo po ng bahay para sa AFP-PNP, walang tubig, walang kuryente, so sira. Sa mga Typhoon Pablo, Sendong, ganun din po. 53% of the total budget in 6 years, nagtayo ng bahay na walang occupants. So nakakalungkot naman po na taon-taon nandito ako nakaupo at naglalagay ng budget. Sira ang air quality monitoring, sira ang LTO, anti-pollution device for testing, nagtatayo ng bahay na hindi po tinitirhan dahil walang tubig o kuryente. Wow! That's so shocking. Are you saying, sir, that your predecessor in LTO, that the whole 1 year, are you saying that Congress did not provide you the equipment to monitor public vehicles?
Meron pong aminin ko na po merong ilan. Kaya in the process medyo kailangan po ang maintenance ito mukhang nagkulang. That's why yung sinabi ko po, pagkakalam ko, merong 10 equipment ng DNR na nagagamit. Yun po ang...
I'm not sure if DNR actually has that equipment. I think it's the LTO that has that.
Meron po. Sa aming pag-uusap po in fact, nagkaroon po ng joint operation na kasama sila with our law enforcement.
Huwag na niyong asahan yung mga yon. Wala pong mangyayari. Dapat may sarili po kayong makina nyo or what do you call it? Emission testing.
Yes,
what do you call the machine, sir?
Yung oximeter at saka yung gas analyzer.
Now, how many are those provided for in your NEP of 2018?
Doon po sa aming pinupropose na procurement ay meron pong yung 26 mobile inspection equipment may kasama po yan bawat isa, yung 26 plus meron pa po kaming request na additional oximeter and gas analyzer para po ito ay i-distribute sa mga regions na hindi na necessarily ikakabit sa mobile vehicle inspection system.
Secretary, can you actually request and use the part of the 8 billion of MVUC for this? We don't have to wait for 2018 GAA to be able to use this kung wala palang ganito.
We can ask for that, ma'am. In fact, as mentioned earlier, naupisahan na po kaming makakuha ng pera sa road board. Ito talot 1 billion. Kasama ko dito yung mga anti-pollution equipment na kinakailangan. Na kung mabigyan na po yung tondo ng cover ng SARO at yung bidding, siguro yung mga equipment na yan will be in place before the end of this year.
In the meantime po, na wala tayong sapat na emission testing equipment, ano po ang ating pamamaraan para po hulihin or get off the streets all these polluters in the city? Ano po, sino po ang mandated? Hindi po ang LTO, is it MMDA that has the mandate to do that?
Sa batas po, ang pangunahing ahensya ay yung LTO. Bagamat hindi po natin magawa yan as the dictates because of the lack of equipment. That's why we are pursuing the procurement of this equipment. Hopefully, as mentioned by the Secretary, within the year, makakabili po tayo nito. Meron po
Meron po kayong 801.8 million. Is that what you're referring to?
sa Your Honor, ito po ay ang nagpo-propose sa 26 na mobile vehicle inspection
Is
system.
that
At
not
saka,
enough?
hindi po yun sapat. Kaya nga po, bukod sa mobile, meron po kaming pinapanukala na puntuhan yung repair ng stationary mobile vehicle inspection, vehicle inspection system. Meron pong supposedly existing na 10, bagamat ito po ay nasa very bad state of
Did we not provide that in the present year budget?
Ma'am, if I may.
Meron naman eh.
Ma'am, if I
Oo.
may, ma'am, ang naging problema po namin, yun pong hindi namin magamit at hindi namin ma-improve dahil dun sa yung nangyari nung nakaraang administrasyon na nagkaroon ng problema na napansin po ng COA. So ito po ang ginawa namin, kaya ho na-approvean.
And we have equipment that cannot be used because there were purchases that cannot be used because of COA issues.
Ma'am, yes, in fact, may mga nakabalot pa. Tapos ma'am, yung mga hindi na buksan, sir.
So you have the equipment because of COA issues, nakabalot, bawal gamitin.
Hindi po ma'am, kasi yung binili na lang makina, hindi nag-fit doon sa pinayong mga buildings na kung saan dapat magkaroon nitong MDIS. Tama.
Ano?
Pero ma'am, yun na nga po,
The
napakiusapan.
equipment don't fit into the building?
Yes ma'am.
What is this? What is this? Can you explain?
Yeah.
No, but we know that you delegate this to emission testing centers. It's not na LTO that does it. So that's not the reason.
Yung pong sa emission private vehicles, yung pong sa public po, yung LTO.
Is the equipment lodged in LTO that you cannot use because it cannot fit into the building? Anong klase naman yun? So you put it in a big building. Kano po yun? How much worth? What is that equipment?
Ang estimate po sa bawat isang equipment at this present price, mga 81 M.
21 million each. And how many are available but not allowed to be used because of COA
Hindi
issues?
po sa not allowed to be used, but because of the findings of COA, yung request po na puntuhan ng road board, hindi po kami mabigyan hanggat hindi nasasatisfy yung audit observation. But in the last meeting, I understand, nagkaroon po ng conditional approval na sasabihin namin sa kanila kung anong action ang gagawin to comply with the audit memo para po, kaya pinayagan po yung 801 million na initially para tugunan po yung pangangailangan ng mobile vehicle inspection system.
So this is the same. Ito po yung 800. It's not a different set of equipment.
Yung pong iba po kasi yung sa permanent, no? Mas malaki po ang gugugulin sa permanent o sa stationary system kasi kailangan po yung land acquisition, yung shelter or whatever. But ito po sa mobile, kumbaga containerized ito, kaya ito po yung madadala po saan man kailangan. Kaya inisip po namin na siguro mas madaling unahin natin itong mobile dahil yun nga po ang hinihingi ng batas na kailangan implement natin yung roadworthiness ng vehicle at saka yung compliant with the emission. But we will also be repair or even procurement of new equipment kasi po hindi lahat ng region ay mayroong nakalat na equipments nagpa-process ng
How about
How
in
about
Manila, sir? Is it working?
We have two in Metro Manila, but sad to say they're not working, Your Honor.
Been working, and why are we not doing anything about it? Metro Manila, the most polluted metropolis in the country, and the emission testing equipment are not working. If it's not working, di pagawa. How long has it not been working, sir?
Hindi ko po but definitely matagal na before we came in. That's why as soon as we know,
For 1 year, because you came in July 1 last
Yes,
year or this
Your Honor.
year?
yes, that's why we're pursuing the repair of this. In fact, even without the release of new plans, yung sa amin pong nakalak na savings, about 1.7 of that, o yung isa na po namin at pinag-aaralan kung pwede po hindi natutuloy kasi ang balak po namin if your permissions that yung tinatawag po namin control organization, so that yung mga equipment na talagang hindi na matatakbo, may mga parts sila na pwedeng gamitin, ililipat po namin doon sa ibang equipment para at least mapatakbo po namin yung 4 lanes din sa Metro Manila. And sa initial estimate po, kailangan namin 1.7 and we feel that nakakita na kami ng panggamit dito. Aside from that, meron po kami pinupos yung request na about 40 million para yung iba po sa Region 4, 4A at Region 3, eh mapatakbo rin po. And hopefully, in the succeeding periods, eh magandang pa po ito from the road board fund para yung iba pa sa region 7, for example, Region 1 in La Union, mapatakbo rin. It's just about that initially, they replied to us when we requested for funds for repair, eh hindi daw po sakop yun yung total hinahawakan ng road board. That's why we even intend to na kung pwedeng ma-amendahan yung mandate para yung pwede kung nakakulit sa NBUC.
We should abolish them. They're so corrupt. Will we amend them? They should be abolished. You don't even use the funds. Not you. I mean, the OTR is not even using the funds from them. And the road board as an institution is perceived to be corrupt. Okay, let me correct myself. Maybe not the present road board. So they should be abolished. But Secretary, who is in charge of the upkeep of equipment? Here we are, LTO admitting that the two equipment in Metro Manila are not working.
Dapat po sila, ma'am.
Bakit po ganito? Metro Manila, sira eh.
Alam mo po, if I may say, Mr. Chair, Madam, nung dumating mo kami, nakita namin yung mga sira na equipment. Dalawa po yung gusto namin gawin dyan, i-repair yung sira at bumili ng bagong equipment. Yung pag-repair po ng equipment, hindi ko parang magawa kasi meron na akong COA findings. Pati yung gastusin, hindi mo magagawa kung hindi aproba ng road board. Ayun po yung ang problema na confront po sa amin. Kaya nga gumawa kami ng mga request for allocation sa road board na kung saan mga 2 weeks ago, yun ho na-approve na. Kaya pwede na ho namin bumili ng equipment at pwede na ho ipa-repair. Talagang nakomplika po yung approach namin na solusyonan yung problema dahil sa mga bureaucratic processes at requirement. Kasama na ho doon yung road board.
So I would assume, sir, that in your proposal for your budget, this would cover your needs under LTO, including
With all due respect, hindi po kasama ito sa GAA kasi yung pong pondo from the road board ang mag-finance ng pag-procure namin. By the way, isa pang
You did not include it in the net because inaasahan po nyo ang road board. And you
Yes, sir.
assure us that you will be able to get it from the road board.
Na-approve na po.
Okay.
Na-approve na po.
And with that 800 approval, yung may 800 na sabi nyo, almost 1 week.
Opo, kaya nga po nasabi namin na without approval, pag lumabas yung SARO, makakalibrate na po namin yung pagbili ng bagong equipment. Pag nagawa po ito, before the end of this year, in place yung mga equipments.
Ang target po natin dito ay by December, makakakuha na po tayo ng yung pinakitang example, mobile inspection system. 26 po lahat yung initial na procure natin.
Not belabor the point. All I'm saying is that we in government, we're using taxpayers' money and we procure equipment, and if it breaks down, there should be O&M, that's very clear, and we should request Congress if there's no funds for that, or if there's another source like MVUC to make sure it's spent. As simple as that. It's just so regular that in every agency that faces me, palaging sira ang mga gamit. And the people are suffering. It's just really sad. Let's go to, yeah, thank you. May I just ask about the airport? NAIA. What are we doing to improve our airport, not just efficiency, but also aesthetically? So that we don't land as one of the worst airports in the world.
Okay, let me start on the runway, Madam Senator.
Has this been, if this has been discussed already earlier, di pa? Oo. The improvements, even in the terminal itself.
As mentioned earlier, we are implementing the rapid exits, which, yes ma'am.
The terminal mismo po.
The terminal itself, because the terminal itself, we have a budget to be implemented for Terminal 2 to improve the aesthetics of the terminal, because when we entered last year, it's really in bad shape. We have already completed the DED. We're waiting for a quantity surveyor to make sure that the materials that will be used are properly priced. As soon as we have that, we will have it bidded out for the renovation of Terminal 2. That's the first terminal that I think that really needs improvement. We're also looking at improving the size of Terminal 4. However, if you face the Terminal 4 on the right, that's still being occupied by Cebu Pacific as their cargo terminal. We're looking for a replacement space for them so that we can expand the area. That is pending right now, ma'am. As regards to the maintenance, we're doing our best to maintain properly the facilities. And likewise, we are also going to implement by the first 2 months of next year, we will do an overlay for the runway, because we've been hit for almost 3 times already that there were some potholes. 1331, which is the domestic airport, there is also another upgrading of the runway as well.
Mr. Chair, maybe the question that is supposed to be asked is, in the 12 months that we have been here, are you guys doing the right thing? Are you guys on the right track? Let us not answer it now. Let ICAO answer it. ICAO yung institusyon na nag-conduct ng audit on airports all over the world. This is an international organization. the airports na iya and all the terminals have been exposed to audit for more than 2 weeks. And the results of the IKO findings, I will ask you, Sepiski, to share it with the committee with you, Ma'am, with the chair, so that you will see in clear terms, based on the judgment of an international organization whose duty it is to safeguard the safety of the airport. Nag-audit ho sa amin for more than 2 weeks. Ang kinakatakot ho namin is yung finding na negative at wala nang makalanding na mga aeroplano sa atin. Doon ho kami natatakot. That audit was conducted. Technical people they sent here for more than 2 weeks. Lumabas po yung result, and may I ask and give the honor to Yusek Iski to report to the chairman and Madam Senator the result of that audit by IKO.
Through the chair, ma'am. When we took over in 2016, the rating of the Philippines and CAAP was 58.9, something 58.9, and we barely passed. Now, the industry average at this time is a little bit more than 64. After the audit that was conducted, we increased this by about a little more than 10%. So we are now rating at 69.8%, which is way above the industry, worldwide industry average. So having said that, this keeps us safe, or it keeps us out of the possibility of being classified again as a Category 2 or being banned from flying to Europe. So as far as safety is concerned, improvements are concerned, we are proud to say that we made good for the past year that we are here.
So at least we passed in terms of safety. So what we need to do is further enhance or improve our safety measures and standards, and let not our aspiration be pasang-awa lang just because we passed it. Let us be one of the safest. Safest not only for the flights, but also safe in terms of our security. And Secretary knows, couple of times when I called him, that I believe there were security lapses. I would rather err on the side of being overly searched or secured, like in the IA and in the Cebu airport when I walked in without being asked or searched. In fact, when they see me and they don't search me, I said, no, I want to go through an x-ray when I enter. Maybe that's not the protocol. Maybe the x-ray is really just inside, but I don't like that. Like in Cebu, for example, when I entered, then there are stores, wala eh. Wala yung ganun, garet na, wala rin yung x-ray na ganun. Hanggang dun sa pagpasok mo, dun lang ba talaga? And I don't know, kung ina-outsource yung security, yung nagkukantuhan, may aso ron, nakikita ko, ngumiti sila, mababait naman, pero we're just so laid back. You know, and that was a time that bombings could happen anywhere. So we have to be matikas. I want to see people alert and caring for the lives of the population. Hindi puro kwentuhan. Naiya, the same thing, but worse in Cebu. And I called the secretary about that, and they claimed that there were x-rays, and you saw it in the CCTV. I walked in without being searched and no x-ray. Do we already have x-ray when you enter the Cebu International Airport? Eh, wala pa rin po. Upon entrance, before the stores? Or ganun ba talaga?
If I recall it right, Madam Senator, in Cebu, with the agreement with GMR, the X-ray is done after you check in your bag. It's now inland. So when you go in, I presume that's my recollection. When you go in, there's no X-ray machine that search the bag.
That is your agreement.
No, it's like an open airport, just Hong Kong. When you go into the terminal,
Iba naman ang
I
ating
understand.
security concerns ng Hong Kong at saka dito eh.
Fully understand, ma'am.
So, it's just that anyone can just leave anything there. let's not compare ourselves to Hong Kong. If I think you just have to address it. We have to be on high alert. Are we waiting for anything to happen before we act?
We are not.
That's right. So why aren't we improving our security protocols according to today's times? You don't know. I think that was a time when there were Abu Sayyaf from Holo to Bohol. And that's when I went through the Cebu airport, and so it was very loose, like there was no threat at all. I just put that on record, and I leave it to you. Who is in charge of airport security? Do we outsource that, or is it in-house?
There are various components. The security multiplier are the security guards that being outsourced. We have our own airport police department. I'm speaking for MIA, excuse me. And there's also members of the PNP Aviation Security Group that adds to our security protocols. We have our K9 dogs as well being used as part of the paneling for the whole terminal. There are a lot of things that we have been implementing now because of the security alert that we are implementing. We have long firearms that is being used outside of the terminal together with roving guards around the terminal as well. So it's basically on high alert, Madam Senator.
Well, just to let you know that during those times that I went to Cebu, and even in the IA, the security were not tight at all. And I just expressed my concerns because I think we can't compare ourselves to other countries that have better situations. We should always be on high alert whether there is a situation or not. That's just my humble suggestion. Where is the Coast Guard? That's Commodore Hermohino. Yes. I just want to ask a very basic question. You're supposed to guard our seas, the whole Philippine archipelago. Are you getting the support that you need from us? And what are your most basic needs for you to be able to perform your task better?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Fortunately, ma'am, we are getting the support from in terms of our requirement, and in fact, for 2018 budget, we have an increase of more than 10% of the capital outlay that needs to monitor our security requirement. And in terms of monitoring, we have this requirement for coastal monitoring, and we have enough budget.
I know, what is the Coast Guard's relationship, or how do you say it, role in the Coast Watch program of government? Because under the Office of the President, there is a allocation for confidential or intel funds for Coast Watch. Does that have any bearing on your budget, or do you have any working relationship, or are you part of the Coast Watch program, being the head of the Philippine Coast Guard? Are you the implementer, or are you the one utilizing the intel, the billions of the intel fund under the Office of the President for the Coast Watch program?
The Coast Guard is own intelligence fund for the National Coast Watch system. The Coast Guard is the designated director of the operations of the Coast Watch Center. So the National Coast Watch Center has its own budget, separate from the Coast Guard. To complement the requirements of the National Coast Watch system, we have requested the budget for the installations of the radar monitoring systems in various parts of the country, more particularly in the southern part, where the high incidence of maritime activities such as the piracy in that area. So the focus Well, other agencies have their own monitoring system. So the Coast Guard is just one of the complementary agencies in the National Coast Guard system. Mr. Chair.
Commodore, how many coastal municipalities do we have out of 1,634 cities and municipalities? Coastal municipalities do we have?
Can I get back to you on later?
I know, it is 388 out of 1,634. But correct me if I'm wrong. Do we have 388 or is it 788? Can you please check? We should know that. If the Coast Guard polices our seas and we are an archipelago, so you should focus on, can you check, is it 788 or 388?
It's around 600.
600?
Yes, ma'am.
Bakit may iba?
I'm checking it now po.
That's why I want to remember. Brian would have it, or Rachel. Should that not be the focus of the Coast Guard? All the municipalities surrounding our 30 million hectares archipelago. Hindi ba ho? And my next question is, so just correct me in my figures, I cannot remember. So how many coastal municipalities and how long is our coastline, sir?
Our coastline is about 36,000 kilometers.
So 36,000 kilometers, blank number of municipalities. Could you ask your staff to check, or my staff is checking? I'm not sure it's 388 or 788. And the Coast Guard's mandate is to police our shores and inland as well, or just the just the 36,000. Is it 36,000 kilometers?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Or inland din po. Pati inland. Inland waters also.
That's already included. Ma'am.
Included, yes. So, how many Coast Guard stations do you need? How many boats, equipment, etc. do you actually need to be able to police, to be able to guard both against intrusions and against environmental degradation, against foreign or local terrorists, yung 36,000 kilometers. That's just the outlying areas of the archipelago aside from the inland waters. And second, based on the equipment or boats that you have, ano po ang 1 is to how many kilometers ang inyong equipment? Am I getting myself clear? So kung 36,000 po, ilan po ang ating Coast Guard stations? Ilan po ang ating bangka? Ilan po ang ating personnel that guards our 36,000 kilometers coastline?
Yes, ma'am. Right now, we have about 61 Coast Guard stations all over the country and 285 substations covering this more or less 36,000 kilometers.
61 and 285. Ito po ay sumatotal na 285
Substations.
substations. And then, so that's around 346 Coast Guard stations in 36,000 kilometers of coastline.
Yes, ma'am.
Maliwanag po, nakulang. Wala pa po yung inland waters. Hindi pa po sakop dito, no?
We have substations and stations in inland water.
Pero ito
Just
po,
like
sumatotal na po yung 346.
Yes, ma'am.
Ano po ang ideal? Is there such an ideal like other countries, developed nations, or because iba tayo, archipelago, mas malaki ang ating need. If you had unlimited resources, what would be the ideal in guarding our resources, our country? Ilan pong kilometro ang dapat na binabantayan ng isang Coast Guard unit?
Our total view is to have one substation in each coastal barangay in order to cover monitoring for marine environmental issues, concerns, and for security as well.
One for every barangay. Ilang nga LGUs natin? Hindi ko makuha yung facts. So, ilan po yung coastal LGUs? Ilan nga yung coastal municipalities po natin? Ilan? Don't we have that? Does the Coast Guard not have that?
Baka municipality.
Municipalities.
Hindi barangay. Ano?
Yeah, baka naman ho ibig sabihin nyo. Kasi kung bawat barangay yung gusto natin mapondohan. Oo.
Saka bawat barangay, wala akong tubig pa lahat ng barangay dito. Bawat municipality.
Maybe what you mean, sir, is the ideal is we have a substation in every coastal municipality. But impossible because I think 700 nga plus ang ating coastal municipalities. I don't have the exact number and we only have 346. That's all over the country already. So clearly we are lacking in that because you're very important. You guard not just for environmental issues but pagpasok ng droga, di ba? Sa back door, front door, side door, smuggling of all items. Ilan po ang ating coastal municipalities?
And maybe per data we have about 822 coastal municipalities.
822.
Yes, I'm corrected. No? And our year one is to have at least one station in each coastal municipalities of 10 Coast Guard personnel. And right now, we have only about 61 stations and 285 substations. And it's about 33% of the desired coverage in terms of the number of stations and personnel. But the monitoring is complemented by the utilizations of our patrol vessels and aircraft for those areas that are not reachable by our personnel in terms of road access. Because there are areas that are not reachable by our personnel to road access. It's only be accessible by air and by aerial observations and surface monitoring.
So sir, if our numbers are correct, you said that there are 822 coastal municipalities and you said the ideal is you would have one Coast Guard substation in each of the coastal LGUs.
Yes, ma'am.
And the Coast Guard substation should have a patrol vessel, personnel, equipment, all of that.
Yes, ma'am. That's why we are part of our requirements is the provision of small craft, rubber boat, at least the rubber boat and small craft to Coast Guard substations, and the bigger patrol boats is for the stations and the Coast Guard districts.
Well, I cannot present a
Ma'am,
solution to that.
I
Yes.
participate, Mr. Chairman, Madam. Yung sinabi niyo ko, totoo ho yun. That is the sad plight of the Philippine Coast Guard today. We don't have the personnel that is needed to meet all our internal and coastal security requirements. We do not have the equipment. There is much to be desired insofar as our patrolling equipments are concerned. Kaya nga po, with this realization, your present Coast Guard has embarked on what they call as the modernization of the Philippine Coast Guard. Initially, the modernization of the Philippine Coast Guard consists of 4 factors. Number 1, people. Dapat nasasabi nyo na yun sa people, mag-hire sila ng additional 2,000 Coast Guard personnel. Doon sa capability, so nabanggit kanina na meron kaming big boat, 91 meters, small craft, fast craft, na kung saan 5 na yung na-deliver, 5 pa hindi deliver, pero hindi pa ho kasya yun. Following the analysis of 800 coastal municipalities. Kasi may ideal ratio ho yan. Over time, you will have a multi-year developmental program, so you can achieve at a certain point a modernized Philippine Coast Guard. In addition to this, meron ho yung mga flying instruments. Ano po yun? Ito ho yung sa helicopter. Nabanggit ho na meron din programa to acquire helicopter. Meron lang hong issue sa definition ng acquire. Ang gusto ho ng Coast Guard is bilhin yung helicopter. Parang hindi ho ako kumikiling dun sa bilhin yung helicopter. Kasi ang total requirements nila only for this year o hanggang next year is 7 helicopters. Sabi ko, baka dapat bumili ka lang ng 1 o 2, magkaroon ka ng lease arrangement dun sa ibang pangangailangan. What am I trying to say? We are trying to initiate a modernization program of the Philippine Coast Guard. And the modernization program of the Philippine Coast Guard consists of 4 factors: the personnel, the equipment, the instruments, and even the arms. For the first time, merong provision sa budget na kung saan bibili tayo ng ang tawag doon, armaments. 1 billion po yun. Again, following your valid evaluation that yung Coast Guard, malawak ang responsibilidad pero kulang sa pangangailangan. Yun ho yung sinosolve natin ngayon. Inuumpisahan, hopefully, after and during the term of President Duterte, ma-achieve ho yung tinatawag na modernized Philippine Coast Guard.
Our figures are varied. According to DNR, it's 825 coastal municipalities and 85 coastal cities. But UP Resilience Institute, Dr. Nagmay says it's 822. So, naman 800. So, ito pong 346 substations comprised of 285 plus 61. And sabi po nyo, are these all located in this 800 plus coastal municipalities?
Yes, ma'am. Some substations have jurisdictions of more than 3 coastal municipalities.
Yes.
Others have ranging from 3 to 5.
Okay.
In order to cover the whole coastal municipalities.
Okay. Could you kindly submit to the committee, because it would be too lengthy if I ask you now. I'm just interested, just give me the clustering. And in your wish list, where are the more strategic areas in the country, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, that should house, where Coast Guard stations or substations must be located for our national security, for rich environmental marine protected areas, areas where bagsakan ng droga, na kailangan may presence tayo doon, na wala po sa inyong 2018 NEP. May I have that? If you are ready to answer my question, I would be happy to hear it. But if not, could you kindly submit it? In short, these 346 stations and substations, where are they located? In the 822 coastal municipalities, and I understand that we cannot, in our lifetime, have 1 per municipality. Let's just cluster it in threatened, high-risk areas. Sa lahat po ng risk, drugs, environment, rebel intrusions, whichever.
We shall do the submissions, ma'am.
Can you show me the areas? No, where is it? The areas.
Nakalista.
Look for it. The National Security Council asked me for funds that would have been downloaded to the Coast Guard. I just want to make sure that you know of these funds before I give it to the NSC, which they said they cleared with you. Or maybe I should pose a question. Is the Coast Guard, Commodore, do you actually work with the National Security Council so that you have designated areas where substations or stations of Coast Guard need to be located? Kasi may hinihingi po ang NSC sa akin, base daw po sa inyong pangangailangan. Hindi ito eh. Ito sa the areas. Lang po ang tanong ko, kayo ba ho ay nakikipag-ugnayan sa National Security Council? I'm trying to look for the documents given by General Esperon, which were requests in behalf of the Coast Guard of substations and equipment needed in high-risk areas.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Involved po kami dyan. In fact, ang recent ugnayan was in relation to the Philippine rice. Doon po sa Philippine
Yung po sa
rice.
Philippine rice, yes.
Na kung saan nagkasundo kami yung mga bagay-bagay at programa kung kailan acquiring yung mga kinakailangan to secure not only the territorial integrity of the Philippines in Philippine rice, but also to preserve the maritime treasures underneath. Napag-agrihan ho dyan from a simple boya to a platform to helicopter surveillance. Kasama ho, interagency ho ito. Kasama ho dyan yung natural resources.
Yeah, that's fine. So, wag natin siguro pag-usapan yon because this is a request of the NSC, which I am inclined to grant. I simply wanted to validate it with the Coast Guard whether there is any.
Ito po, hindi na dito po yung breakdown.
In short, there are supposedly strategic areas in the eastern seaboard. I'm not even talking about the dispute in the West Philippine Sea. I'm talking about the eastern seaboard because this is the side where Benham rice or Philippine rice is. And so, the idea of the NSC is to strengthen our presence in these areas from the north, Ilocos Norte, hanggang sa Pangasinan, hanggang Zambales, hanggang sa Palawan. Actually, it also covers areas in Quezon and Aurora, and in Albay. So I just wanted to make sure that
Marinis din po, yung sa
Camarines Norte,
kasi yun ang sasakupin ng Philippine rice. Pinag-aaralan kung ang priority is Aurora or
Dingalan yata.
Catanduanes, ma'am, Catanduanes.
That's not
I
clear.
correct myself.
Kaya lang po, ang hinihingi nila equipment. So kung hinihingi nila equipment, kung wala naman kayong substation, saan ilalagay po yung equipment? Kaya gusto kong tinutugma.
Ang plano ho, mag-create ng substation, either ilocate mo sa Catanduanes yan or sa Aurora. Ang pinag-uusapan ko ngayon, kung saan mas maigting kung saan mo ilalagay yung substation. Pinamimilian mo yung Catanduanes saka yung Aurora. Once that is done, meron hong substation ng Coast Guard, and then the purchase of the equipments, which I had mentioned earlier, from the simple boya to the more complicated platform, maritime platform they call it, gagawin po yun.
Okay. May I request, we won't be able to solve it now, Secretary Tugade and Commodore Hermohino to meet with the NSC General Esperon because their request is for MOE. But how can we have MOE when you don't have the substations in those areas? So, I don't think it's in your net. Those substations, we have to make sure tugma yung inyong request for capital outlay for substations so that I will grant the Intel and Confi funds and the equipment, the MOE for this. I'm inclined to grant it. I want to protect our eastern seaboard, which is the land area towards Philippine rice. But if you don't have substations and it is not in your NEP, how can I give the Intel kung wala naman bahay, walang, I mean, the MOE, the Intel, the Confi, if there's no substation. So kailangan po nyo i-amend yung budget ninyo ng Coast Guard sa anong priority areas on the eastern seaboard mula Apari, Cagayan hanggang sa Bicol, hanggang Mimaropa. No, not Mimaropa. No, Albay. Bicol. In short, mag-usap na lang po kayo. Saan may substation, dun bibili dapat ng equipment at maglalagay ng PS. But please do it within your existing budget. Meron naman kayong, ano dyan, pagkukuhanan eh.
Ma'am,
I will promise to look at it from your perspective.
actually, ma'am, there's a proposal ready for an errata for 200 million initially for 2018 to address the need of Coast Guard for a station in Catanduanes. It's actually 400 million, but we are doing it multi-year.
Ito na lang. Kasi, I cannot show you the document. Secret yun. Importante lang, hindi ko kayang ibigay yon. I realized, kung wala naman palang substation. So, tinignan namin yung budget mo. Wala pong substation sa Eastern Seaboard. Ang hinihingi nila, equipment, isang lalagay yung mga tao, mag-swimming, na may Intel funds at may equipment. So, you need to align and build the structure of the Coast Guard so that we can grant the NSC the equipment needed.
Yes, actually, we have substations in the eastern seaboard. What our additional requirement is bigger areas as the basic requirement for our vessels who will conduct patrol areas in the Burnham Rice.
Ito po, kung ano po yung inyong mga existing stations or substations in the Eastern Seaboard, please coordinate with the National Security Council. And then, the request to us, itutugma ko po kung saan ang existing substations nyo, saan po ang inyong nakasaad na sa inyong budget proposal sa NEP na substations. And I will see kung tugma sa kanilang lugar na paglalagyan na ng equipment. Eh baka may equipment, hindi naman nandun ang substation nyo, sayang po yung pondo.
Yeah, we will do that.
Baka maging parang MRT, maging parang yung lahat, hindi tugma. May equipment, walang bahay. May bahay, walang equipment. Tinutugma ko lang po. Okay? So, Elvira mo, gusto mo in charge. Aileen, ha? Tindihan mo? So, you can show her that secret document, but make sure it's tugma from their submission. Hindi, walang bahay.
May just interject. With that directive from the National Security Council, no, yung patrolling of the Eastern Seaboard, will those vessels be enough? Kasi medyo iba yung mas maano dun eh. Medyo mas rough ang seas dun, ano? Will your vessels be capable of patrolling that Eastern Seaboard?
Right now, sir, our 44-meter vessels, because of its good technical design, can withstand assisted ships. But our desired boat is, our requirement is 140-meter vessel that will withstand rough seas conditions. mentioned, our 94-meter vessel project from Japan to can withstand already rough sea conditions, but the 140 meters as per coordination with the National Security Council requirement will further enhance our patrol capability in that area.
Sakop ba ho nyo ang Lanao Lake?
Actually, we don't have any coast guard right now in the Lanao Lake. We only deployed recently because of the Marawi incident.
Pero sakop po nyo, hindi po bawal na may Coast Guard doon.
It's still part technically of our jurisdiction, ma'am.
Yes. Do you have a substation or a station in Lake Lanao?
As of the moment, we don't have any unit in Lake Lanao.
Should you not create a unit in Lake Lanao?
We will evaluate the need for the establishment of the Coast Guard unit in Lake Lanao, ma'am.
Why do we need to evaluate? Don't we need to guard Lake Lanao? Hindi ba ho, since May, the start of the Marawi crisis, ang kanilang pagpasok at paglabas sa Marawi City ay kasi very porous ang Marawi ay galing sa Lake Lanao at nahuhuli nga, mga nakabangka lang yung mga maute pero nakakalusot kasi walang bantay doon. And from the day one of the siege, sinabi ko na maglagay dyan ng Coast Guard. I even called SND, Secretary Lorenzana, I told him.
Yes, ma'am, with the recent development, then perhaps they will really need to put the Coast Guard personnel and stations in that area in order to further enhance our security monitoring efforts in that part of the region.
Unless I'm wrong, baka naman Navy ang dapat i-deploy doon. Should it be Navy or the Coast Guard?
The Navy and the Coast Guard can work complementary, because the Coast Guard is the one actually have the jurisdiction on the motor bunkers operating in inland waters.
It's also a very rich resource of our food, and it should be protected. That's a lifeblood of the life source of the Maranaos. So I would suggest that in your budget submission you include the creation. It also shows our support for the Maranaos. You would include a provision for the creation of a station along with complete equipment, patrol vessel.
Yes, ma'am, we will work on that, ma'am, and include that in our program.
So it's an augmentation in your budget. You ask Secretary Tugarde, who has billions he can carve out from other non-performing areas and include it in increase the Coast Guard budget so that you will have presence in Lake Lanao. You choose it, you would know it better, strategic area, so there's Coast Guard presence there.
Yes, ma'am.
With patrol vessel, personnel, equipment, monitoring equipment.
We will include that in our program as soon as the identification of location where the station will be established is done.
So, even before you identify the area, I think just a line item of substation in Lake Lanao, that would do for the GAA.
Yes.
So, marami po kayong isasubmit. Makikipag-ugnayan po kayo sa NSC kay General Esperon para tugma po yung hinihingi nilang intel at confi at equipment sa inyong existing substation. Pangalawa po, sa 822 coastal municipalities around the country of the 36,000 kilometers coastline, ano po ang nasuserve at ang pagka-cluster ng inyong mga municipalities, and in an ideal world, if we have the resources, how many more stations are needed? And third, the augmentation of your budget to put a station of Coast Guard in Lake Lanao. It's big, eh? You need one or you need two? North, south, east, west, you choose. whatever that could, any area, so we could secure not just Marawi, but that area. And if there are other areas you think that need to be secured more with the presence of Coast Guard station, why not?
Yes, ma'am. We will submit
But remember, this will not be an augmentation of your budget. It will be coming from the 20% that the DOTR cannot spend. So you have to trim your fat and put it elsewhere. And then the rest, you will have to return to us and I will put it somewhere else.
yes, ma'am. We will
Internal housekeeping.
yes, ma'am.
I hope the Secretary agrees, di ba ho? We need Coast Guard in Marawi. Yeah.
That is a serious critical safety concern at this time. Especially
Is
at this
there a
time.
Coast Guard in Holo?
We have, ma'am.
Paano nakalusot yung mga Abu Sayyaf ng papuntang Bohol at nakabangka lang yung mga yon? Buti alis to ang mga taga Bohol. Paano nakalusot ng Holo?
Our station in Holo is only located in the Holo proper. We don't have any Coast Guard station in the southern part. I think we have only 2 units actually in Holo. One in the station, in the substation, in the nearby pier where the maritime or commercial activities is commercial activities is heavy. So we must admit that we have not covered the whole island.
It's important. Thank you for being very candid and honest. Talaga naman mahirap ipolis ang archipelago. Paano ba naman yan? Mahirap po talaga. Are we gaining, is there any training exercise benefiting from the VFA or the SOFA? The US VFA or the SOFA with Australia?
We have ongoing training assistance from particularly US Coast Guard through the USMAG on security matters. Australia we have ongoing also training and schooling, but the bulk of the training that we are having right now is with the US Coast Guard for security, and while we have ongoing security training also with the Japanese Coast Guard. These are the main foreign assistance in regard to training we are undertaking.
All our Coast Guard stations are reliant on electric power from the co-ops where they're located
Yes, ma'am.
and from transmission and distribution lines. Pag pasabugin ang transmission lines, wala kayong kuryente.
Some of our Coast Guard stations have small power generators in an event that there is no power source from the mainland of cooperatives. This is for of course for emergency situations, but basically our power requirements are being sourced from electric cooperatives.
Do you have a Coast Guard substation in Barangay San Fernando, El Nido in Palawan? Yun yata yung humingi sa akin ng tulong. Can you just check?
Yes, ma'am. We have a substation in
El Nido.
El Nido.
Barangay San Fernando. Barangay San
I will check the exact barangay one, but in El Nido we have a substation in covering the areas of El Nido. We will be back on the exact whether it's in Barangay San Fernando.
Because I went to that unelectrified barangay. They've never seen power their whole life, not even 8 hours a day. Walang kuryente. And there's a Coast Guard station that looked really pitiful. I'm not sure, huh? Again, yes, I think it's San Fernando. Can you please check? and include that in your budget for the upkeep of the Coast Guard station in Barangay San Fernando.
Yes, ma'am, we will do that, ma'am.
And where the people are into seaweed farming. It's a very peaceful local community, but kawawa naman. At saka yung mga Coast Guard doon, walang kuryente. I went as far back as in that. No. Can you please look into that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When you say the maritime sector of the DOTR, what is the work of the maritime sector vis-a-vis the work of the Coast Guard? How do you coordinate with each other?
Yung maritime po kasama yung PPA, yung marina.
Ito yung municipal ports or the
Yung mga social ports
social ports.
sa PPA.
The social ports are under PPA or DOTR?
DOTR po.
And what are the municipal ports are the ones that are turned over to the municipality but built by DOTR?
Parang gano'n, no? Pero binabago ko yan, ma'am. Ayaw ko na may involvement yung DOTR kasi nade-delay ko dun sa paggawa ng project, pag-monitor. Ang plano ko, kung we get the appropriate approvals, i-lodge ko lahat. Basta anything which has something to do with the port, ilalodge ko sa PPA. Oversight na lang po yung DOTR. Kasi ang nahalata ko yung cause of delay dun sa paggawa ng mga plano, dun po sa DOTR.
Last year, just like Kaap, I remember there were some ports that were also unused, unobligated by the previous administration. And to escape the expiration deadline of December of 2016, unless I'm mistaken, you also downloaded some funds or projects in PPA. Is that correct?
We can give you a complete list on that, ma'am.
No, unless I'm mistaken, baka Kaap lang, baka Air lang, but I remember
Hindi po, meron po.
So may I know the status of those projects? What do you call this? Municipal ports? Social ports?
Social ports. Can you explain the
It's a
social
PPA.
ports and commercial
What's the difference of
ports?
the social port? Why do we call it the social port and the municipal port? And how much was the budget last year that was moved to PPA so that it would not expire? And have all these projects moved? Are you implementing them or is it still pending? Thank you.
Madam Chair, Your Honor, we are very happy to report that port projects for calendar year 2016 and 2017, which funds are all, if not all, have been obligated. This is in line with the direction instructions of the Secretary to facilitate implementation of these projects. And this strategy is, of course, as mentioned by Madam Chair, is we have downloaded some of these projects to procuring agent and implementing units such as PPA. Not only PPA, we have also asked LGU and DPWH to help us out in the implementation of this projects. And the remaining of which, to inform Madam Chair, we are already in the advanced stage of procurement process, if not are already being implemented. So this is to support the direction of the Secretary that we can be able to achieve 80% absorptive capacity on the maritime sector. On the query of Madam Chair on some projects that have been downloaded earlier to PPA, we don't have the exact figures, but in general, most of these projects are almost on their way for completions, aside from some concerns on paid biddings, which we have to undergo negotiated procurement to the available bidders that have submitted their proposal to particular projects.
Just like the CAAP, can we just request the PPA to include in your report what were downloaded to you and the status of the projects? And have you also asked Congress for the funds to continue these projects? And will it be under the OTR or it will be downloaded to PPA again?
For the proposed budget of the OTR for calendar year 2018, ma'am, we have a total of 77 for projects, and there are still some requests that we might request for errata and amendments. But again, Madam Chair, Your Honor, we are very happy, in line with the direction of our good secretary, because the problem of the previous administration is that we have passed the budget and we will just have to do the POW and this detailed engineering design. So in this case, to be able to correct these inadequacies, what have been identified on our net for calendar 2018, that the PMS of the DOTR has already been doing some survey so that we can be able to do the POW and DED of this project, so that by first quarter of calendar 2018, we can be able to, on 50 million and below, we can already do some bidding, while the others, 50 million and above, will be downloaded to DBMPS to help us out in the bidding process.
Ipakisabit na lang po.
That's Madam Chair.
Yeah, so CAAP and PPA. JV, I have so many questions pero walang katapusan to. Hindi na. Hindi ko na kayang anuhin to. Nakakaawa naman ng aking kaibigan si Secretary Tugade. Diba? So, tapos na natin to. You have more questions?
Well, the chair of our committee on finance, probably just like I've asked your secretary, how's the, yung pag-transfer niyo sa clerk, how's the operations of the OTR?
Okay naman wala naman kaming problema. The first phase of employees have transferred their totaling mga 105 employees, kasama ko kami. Hopefully before the end of the year, the full 680 or 700 employees nakalipat na ho. Meron hong mga opisina at tax agencies na naka-schedule na hong lumipat. Ang isa ho is yung Tolls Regulatory Board. Nag-uusap na rin ho kami with LTFRB at LTO na kung saan yung mga back office employees nila ililipat din ho. Sabihin ko lang ho na yung mga lumipat ngayon, meron mga pre-shuttle yan. Meron din silang access para sa meals. Meron din ho na ginagawang pamaraan na kung saan yung tinatawag nilang more time with their family sa dress. Kaya nga, pinafinalize na ho namin yung 4 days work. And those who are not desirous of transferring, pwede sila mag-apply sa ibang tax agencies na sa Maynila ho. Lahat ho ng pamaraan para sabi nga nila, pag nagawa yan, everybody happy.
My last question, Secretary, Senator JV, is lahat ba nung nakapondo o lahat ng hihingi po nyo sa 2018 budget proposal nyo ay first, na-approve na ng NEDA at pangalawa ay may feasibility study na para hindi masayang yung ating pondong ilalagay doon?
Lahat po actually, madam, na-approve na ho ng NEDA. In fact, meron pa hong na-approve ang NEDA na wala pang nasa budget kahapon. Meron hong na-approve yung subway nga ho.
Metro Manila Subway.
yung Metro Manila Subway.
So,
Kahapon lang po
lahat sa
na-approve.
net natin sa DOTR have NEDA approval and feasibility studies
Yes,
have
ma'am.
been conducted.
Yes, ma'am.
Wala pong masasayang na pondo na nakalagay dyan line item pero naka-pending pa sa NEDA or wala pang feasibility study even if it's been approved.
Dahil po na-approve na ng NEDA, the motions have been in place para yung proyekto mag-materialize. Sa ganyang kalagayan, kung kampante ko kami at we have the confidence na yung mga proyekto na nasa budget will move as we have scheduled them to move.
Okay, that's clear. Secretary, we've all had a long day. I hope that all of your staff and all of those present here have taken note of our requests for information and some fixing of your budget to address the needs. Nakakaintindihan po tayo na hindi karagdagang budget ang ibibigay sa inyo, kundi internal housekeeping to address the needs of security in the Eastern Seaboard, putting a Coast Guard here, and all the others. Yeah. And my antique concerns, call it parochial, whichever, but it's really just helping that poor province and all the other concerns. And yung airport lang ho, no, I'm glad that we are considered safe. Let's make it even safer. But can we just improve really how it looks? Ang Bali, gumanda na ng hustong airport eh. Even Venice, dati napakaliit lang na airport. Wala na, tayo na talagang pinakapangit na airport. Ang iahambing nila siguro sa airport natin, parang airport ng Dili sa Timor-Leste. Eh, wag naman ganun. Baka mamaya, ang Myanmar pa yata, baka mamaya mas maganda pang airport. Can we really just how can aesthetically should have a green design and get the best architects to do it? Mukha tayong kawawa talaga. And it's actually so simple. This you may consider petty, but I asked my staff to take a picture when I was going on a flight. I think it was a domestic flight. The plants outside ng salamin or plastic plants. Nasa labas ng salamin. Bakit plastic? Sino yung staff kong kumondatrato? Fishery. Tataka ako, napakatamad naman magdilig. Ginagawang plastic sa outdoor plants, plastic. I mean, little thing, but it just really shows. And our bathrooms are still not as clean as it should be. At minsan yung mga bathroom po, ni walang our seats o sinasadya po yun kasi ninanakaw yung seats. Ganun ba yan?
Ngayon nabanggit nyo yan.
May cover na ang mga CR.
Ka-record na lang to. Meron po kaming tinayong bagong airport. Kompleto may bidet. After a few weeks, yung bidet ho nanakaw. Pina-replace ko pa rin ho ng bidet. You know, kung paano nanakaw, talagang hindi ko maintindihan.
Alam mo, sa airport security po yun. Ano mo mga klase?
Sabi mo yung bidet.
Okay, to that comment of the secretary, the senator about the plastic plants, ma'am.
Yeah, but even just the whole look, it's just so unsightly. The whole airport is just simply unsightly. I hate to use the word ugly. It is ugly. Huh?
Not me interject. Yung Terminal 1 has improved considerably. I think it's Terminal 2 that needs a lot of improvement this time.
That's right.
Advice Chair.
Yes, we have a plan of having it retrofitted. Yes, ma'am. We're turning to LEDs already for fuel conservation as a matter of the process, ma'am.
Thank you, Secretary and your team. Yeah. In case we ask too many questions and in case we get irritated once in a while, I hope you understand. That's part of the job. Everybody's just very, very tired. Yeah.
We fully understand, Chair, Madam.
We will expect the revised budget now based on what we discussed.
Opo.
Yeah. Okay. With that, ikaw na mag-motion.
Okay, thank you. With that, I'd like to thank everybody for being very patient So we have to ask all of these questions because we have to teach, or you have to help us defend your budget in the plenary. So I'd like to thank Secretary Tugade of the USEX, ASEX, our Chair of Committee on Finance. The DOTR's budget and its attached agencies' budget are now approved by the committee and will be submitted for plenary deliberation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.